How are you guys doing? Today is Thursday, October 28th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances that took place yesterday, Wednesday, October 27th, and of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports. Just to take a quick snapshot of where we are, there are still two teams fighting it out for the 2021 MLB title, also known as the World Series. And also, football is underway as today is Thursday, meaning the beginning of football seasons for some, not all. And of course, the NBA season has just gotten underway, as well as the NHL. And then taking a look at what's been going on overseas, there's been a mix of domestic cups along with domestic league matchups. Starting off first with game 2 of the 2021 World Series. This game took place in Houston, and coming into this matchup, the Atlanta Braves had the 1-0 series lead after winning the first game by 4 runs. The Houston Astros would end up evening the series after beating the Braves 7-2, scoring 5 of their 7 runs in the first 2 innings of the game. Looking at how the scoring went, the first run for the Astros came off of a sacrifice fly from Alex Bregman. That was the only run for the Astros in the bottom of the first. The Braves would tie the game up in the top of the 7th with a solo home run hit from their catcher, Travis d'Arnaud. In the bottom of the 2nd, the Astros would take the lead off of a single from Jose Siri that brought Kyle Tucker to the plate. And then Martin Maldonado would bring 2 more home off of his RBI single, making it 4-1. Michael Brantley's RBI single will make it 5-1 Houston at the end of 2. It would remain that way until the top of the 5th, where Freddie Freeman's RBI single bringing Travis d'Arnaud home would shorten the Braves' deficit to 3. And at that point, it was 5-2. And then off of a fielder's choice from Yuli Gurriel, Yordan Alvarez would score in the bottom of the 6th, making it 6-2. The very score the Braves beat the Astros by. The Astros were able to one-up the Braves in the bottom of the 7th off of a solo home run from Jose Altuve to seal the deal. Looking at the box score for both teams, looking at how both teams pitched, the loss went to the Braves starting pitcher, Max Fried. He allowed 6 earned runs in 5 innings as he struck out 6. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Braves batting lineup, the only player with more than 1 hit was their catcher, Travis d'Arnaud. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his first home run of the World Series. And for the Astros in this matchup, the win was given to their starting pitcher, Jose Urquidy. He allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings as he struck out 7. With this win, he's 1-0 in the World Series. In the Astros batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his first home run of the World Series. And their left fielder, Michael Brantley, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Astros have evened the series up at 1. There will be no baseball today as Game 3 of the World Series will take place in Atlanta on Friday. And because the Astros have won a game, that means Games 3, 4, and 5 will officially be in Atlanta, scheduled for the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. So that's where we are at this point in the baseball season. Taking a quick look at what's going on with college football, the only ranked matchup that's taking place today will be at Coastal Carolina as the 24th ranked Chanticleers are going to host the unranked Troy Trojans. Troy enters this matchup with a 4-3 record. They are holding a 2-1 record within the conference, within the Sun Belt. And the 24th ranked Coastal Carolina Chanticleers are 6-1. They are 2-1 in the Sun Belt as well. Taking a look at what's going on in the NFL, the only matchup taking place today will be in Arizona in State Farm Stadium as the 7-0 Arizona Cardinals are going to host the 6-1 Green Bay Packers, one of the highly anticipated matchups as both offenses have elite starting quarterbacks and elite wide receivers. and of course elite defensive ends as well. Taking a look at what's going on in the NBA, starting with yesterday's matchup, starting with the primetime games that were on ESPN. The first game was in New Orleans as the New Orleans Pelicans hosted the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks would end up beating the Pelicans 102-99. The Hawks would end up outscoring the Pelicans by 8 in the second quarter and by 13 in the third. That is a combined 21 points in the middle two quarters. Looking first on the losing end for the New Orleans Pelicans, their leading scorer was Devontae Graham, their starting point guard out of Kansas. He finished with 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 32 minutes as he shot 8 for 17 from the field, and he was 5 for 10 from 3. Their elite starting small forward, Brandon Ingram, would finish with 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists alongside 2 blocks in 39 minutes. He shot 8 for 21 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and he made his only free throw of the night. For the Atlanta Hawks, they were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Trae Young. He finished with 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 13 for 27 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and he shot a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. With this win, the Atlanta Hawks are now 3-1. That is currently, or looking at where they sit in the NBA or in the Eastern Conference, they are tied with the Heat and the Wizards and the Knicks for the third best record in the Eastern Conference. They are 1-1 on the road. With this loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are 1-4. They are currently tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder for the worst record in the Western Conference at the moment. Taking a look at other matchups taking place, jumping out to Orlando, the Orlando Magic hosted the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets would end up beating the Orlando Magic 120-111. The Charlotte Hornets would end up outscoring Orlando by 11 points in the fourth quarter to overcome their 2-point deficit to win the game by 9. Looking out first on the losing end, for the Orlando Magic, they were led in scoring by their starting point guard, Cole Anthony. He finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 20 from the field, and also in their starting lineup, their starting center out of Duke, Wendell Carter Jr. would finish with 20 points and 10 rebounds in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 15 from the field, and he would also go on to make both of his free throws on the night. For the Charlotte Hornets, they were led in scoring by their starting small forward, Miles Bridges. He finished with 31 points and 6 rebounds in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 21 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, Gordon Hayward, finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, LaMelo Ball, would finish with 7 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals in 24 minutes. He shot 3 for 14 from the field, and he shot 1 for 5 from 3. With this win, the Charlotte Hornets are now 4-1. They are 3-0 on the road. Their 4-1 record is the second best record in the Eastern Conference at the moment. With this loss, the Orlando Magic are 1-4. They are tied with the Indiana Pacers for the second worst record in the Eastern Conference as things stand. Jumping out to Boston, Massachusetts, the Boston Celtics hosted the Washington Wizards. The Wizards would end up beating the Boston Celtics 116-107. The Wizards would outscore the Celtics by 10 points in the first half and then by an additional 8 in the fourth quarter. Looking first at the Boston Celtics, they were led in scoring by their starting the Celtics, they were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Jason Tatum. He finished with 23 points and 7 rebounds as well as 2 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 9 for 22 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, and 4 for 8 from the foul line. Their point guard off the bench out of Germany, Dennis Schroeder, would finish with 22 points and 6 assists as well as 2 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 6 for 15 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. Looking at the Washington Wizards, they were led in scoring by their center off the bench, former NBA Sixth Man of the Year, Montrezl Harrell. He finished with 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 38 minutes. He shot 10 for 13 from the field, and he made 5 of his 7 attempts from the foul line. Their starting point guard, Spencer Dinwiddie, finished with 22 points in 30 minutes as he shot 8 for 16 from the field, and he shot a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard out of Florida, Bradley Beal, finished with 17 points and 10 rebounds alongside 2 assists and 3 steals and 5 turnovers in 35 minutes. Beal shot 7 for 25 from the field and a perfect 3 from 3 from the foul line. With this win, the Washington Wizards are now 3-1. They are tied with the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, and the Atlanta Hawks for the third best record in the Eastern Conference. And with this loss, the Boston Celtics are now 2-3. They are now tied with the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors for the fourth worst record in the Eastern Conference at the moment, or the 10th best. I guess that's their choice. Jumping out next to Brooklyn, New York, the Brooklyn Nets hosted the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat would end up beating the Brooklyn Nets 106-93. The Heat ended up outscoring the Nets by 9 points in the third quarter and by 6 in the fourth. That's a combined 15 points in the second half to overcome their 2-point deficit. Looking at the Brooklyn Nets, they were led in scoring by their goated starting power forward, Kevin Durant, out of Texas. He finished with 25 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks alongside 5 turnovers in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 18 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard, James Harden out of Arizona State, would finish with 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 4 for 12 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. Their elite starting power forward, Blake Griffin, finished with 6 points and 4 rebounds as well as 2 assists in 19 minutes. Griffin shot 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. Looking at the Miami Heat, they were led in scoring by their elite starting center out of Kentucky, Bam Adebayo. He finished with 24 points and 9 rebounds in 30 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field and 8 for 9 from the foul line. Their elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler, finished with 17 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 6 for 18 from the field, and he shot 5 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the Miami Heat are 3-1. They are tied with the New York Knicks, the Washington Wizards, and the Atlanta Hawks for the third best record in the Eastern Conference. With this loss, the Brooklyn Nets are now 2-3. They are now tied with the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics for the 10th best record in the Eastern Conference at the moment. Jumping out to Toronto, the Toronto Raptors hosted the Indiana Pacers. The Raptors would end up beating the Pacers 118-100. The Raptors ended up outscoring the Pacers in every single quarter in this game, a systematic beatdown, if you will. Starting first with the Pacers, they were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Virginia, Malcolm Brogdon. He finished with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 22 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. On the Toronto Raptors, their leading scorer was their starting shooting guard out of Wichita State, Fred VanVleet. He finished with 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 10 for 18 from the field and 6 for 7 from 3. Their starting small forward, OG Anunoby, finished with 25 points and 5 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 21 from the field, and he shot 3 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Toronto Raptors are 2-3. They are tied with the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics for the 10th best record in the Eastern Conference. With this loss, the Indiana Pacers are 1-4. They are tied with the Orlando Magic for the second worst record in the Eastern Conference at the moment. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Bucks, the reigning NBA Finals champs, hosted the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were able to beat the Bucks 113-108. The Timberwolves outscored the Bucks by 10 in the first and by 7 in the third. The Bucks outscored by a good amount in the fourth, but the difference would weigh in the Timberwolves' favor. Looking first at the defending champs, they were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward, the reigning NBA Finals MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He finished with 40 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 blocks in 35 minutes. He shot 15 for 23 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 7 for 9 from the foul line. And then on the Minnesota Timberwolves, their leading scorer was their elite starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell. He finished with 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 12 for 25 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, the 2020 number 1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards, finished with 25 points and 7 rebounds in 33 minutes. He shot 9 for 24 from the field, and he shot 5 for 6 from the foul line. And then for the Timberwolves, their elite starting center, Karl Anthony Towns, finished with 25 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks, alongside 7 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 3-1. They are currently holding the third best record in the Western Conference. With this loss, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 3-2. That is currently the 7th best record in the East, as they are sitting alongside the Cleveland Cavaliers at the moment. Jumping out to Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma City Thunder hosted the Los Angeles Lakers. The Thunder would end up beating the Lakers 123-115. After the Lakers outscored the Thunder by 22 in the first quarter, the Thunder outscored the Lakers by 6 in the second half to shorten their deficit to 16. They outscored the Lakers by 18 in the third quarter to take a 2-point lead by the end of that. And then, of course, they outscored the Lakers by 6 in the fourth. Looking at how the Lakers fared, they were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward, Anthony Davis. He finished with 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 12 for 22 from the field and 6 for 7 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, Russell Westbrook, would finish with 20 points, 14 rebounds, and 13 assists alongside 10 turnovers. That is a famous quadruple-double, if you will. He did all this in 35 minutes as he shot 8 for 20 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3, and he shot 2 for 3 from the foul line. Jumping over to Oklahoma City, they were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He finished with 27 points and 9 rebounds alongside 5 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 7 for 19 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and 8 for 10 from the foul line. Their starting power forward, Darius Bazley, finished with 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, and he shot 4 for 8 from 3. With this win, the Oklahoma City Thunder have won their first game of the season. They are now 1-4. They are tied with the New Orleans Pelicans for the worst record in the Western Conference at the moment. With this loss, the Los Angeles Lakers are 2-3. That is the 9th best record in the Western Conference at the moment. Jumping out to Phoenix, the defending Western Conference champs hosted the Sacramento Kings. The Kings would end up beating the Suns 110-107. The big difference would be the third quarter, where the Kings outscored the Suns 29-15 by 14 points. For the Phoenix Suns, their leading scorer was their elite starting shooting guard out of Kentucky, Devin Booker. He finished with 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 12 for 28 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and he would end up shooting 5 for 6 from the foul line. Their starting center, DeAndre Ayton, finished with 21 points and 21 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 12 from the field, and he would end up shooting 3 for 4 from the foul line. The Suns' elite starting point guard, Chris Paul, would finish with 6 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 30 minutes. He shot 1 for 10 from the field, and he would end up shooting a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Looking at the Sacramento squad, they were led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench, Buddy Hield. He finished with 26 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 27 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field, 7 for 11 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, Harrison Barnes, finished with 22 points and 9 rebounds in 39 minutes. He shot 10 for 18 from the field. With this win, the Sacramento Kings are 2-2. They are currently tied with the Portland Trail Blazers, the Denver Nuggets, and the Memphis Grizzlies for the 5th best record in the Western Conference. With this loss, the Phoenix Suns are now 1-3. They are tied with the San Antonio Spurs, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Houston Rockets for the 10th best record in the Western Conference. Jumping out to Portland, the Portland Trail Blazers hosted the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Trail Blazers would end up beating the Grizzlies 116-96. The Blazers ended up outscoring the Grizzlies by 16 points in the third quarter and by 10 in the fourth. That's a combined 26 points in the second half to overcome their 6-point deficit and win the game by 20. That's how 26 works. Looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, they were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Desmond Bane. He finished with 19 points in 23 minutes. He shot 7 for 12 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and he made his only free throw of the day. Their elite starting point guard, John Morant, finished with 17 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, and 9 turnovers in 32 minutes. He shot 5 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. Jumping over to Portland, they were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, CJ McCollum. McCollum finished with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 21 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and he would end up shooting 5 for 6 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, Damian Lillard, would end up finishing with 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 10 assists in 32 minutes. He shot 6 for 22 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and he shot a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Portland Trail Blazers are 2-2, and with this loss, the Memphis Grizzlies are 2-2 as well. Both being tied at 2-2, both teams are tied with the Sacramento Kings and the Denver Nuggets for the 5th best record in the Western Conference at the moment. Last but not least, the Los Angeles Clippers hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers in Staples Center. The Cavaliers would end up beating the Clippers 92-79. The Cavaliers outscored the Clippers by 9 points in the first quarter, and they would just carry that momentum through the end of the game. Looking with the Los Angeles Clippers first, they were led in scoring by their starting power forward, Nick Batum, and their starting point guard, Reggie Jackson. Batum would finish with 16 points in 32 minutes as he shot 6 for 14 from the field. Reggie Jackson would finish with 16 points in 34 minutes as he shot 6 for 15 from the field for himself. Their elite starting shooting guard, Paul George, finished with 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 6 for 20 from the field. The Cleveland Cavaliers, on the other hand, were led in scoring by their starting point guard, Colin Sexton. He finished with 26 points and 7 rebounds alongside 3 steals and 5 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 12 for 20 from the field and 2 for 3 from the foul line. With this win, the Cleveland Cavaliers are now 3-2. That is the 8th best or the 7th best record in the Eastern Conference as they sit neck and neck with the reigning NBA champs, Milwaukee Bucks. With this loss, the Los Angeles Clippers are 1-3. They are tied with the Phoenix Suns, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Houston Rockets for the 10th best record in the West at the moment. But right now, that is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a quick look at what the NBA can look like today, as today is Thursday. So, of course, the marquee matchups are going to be on NBA TV tonight. At 8 o'clock, the 4-0 Chicago Bulls are going to host the 3-1 New York Knicks. And then that's actually going to be the only primetime game on tonight. Looking around that, at 7 o'clock, the 2-2 Philadelphia 76ers are going to host the 0-3 Detroit Pistons, looking for their first win. At the same time, at 7 o'clock, the Washington Wizards are going to host the Atlanta Hawks. Both teams are 3-1. At 8 o'clock, the 1-3 Houston Rockets are going to host the 3-0 Utah Jazz. At 8:30, the 2-1 Dallas Mavericks are going to host the 1-3 San Antonio Spurs. And at 10, the undefeated 4-0 Golden State Warriors are going to host the 2-2 Memphis Grizzlies. Taking a look at what's going on in the world of soccer in yesterday's matchups, starting with the domestic league matchups. In Spanish La Liga, Rayo Vallecano would end up beating Barcelona 1-0. And after this loss, Barcelona's manager, Ronald Koeman, would end up getting sacked. Barcelona right now is sitting with the 9th best record in La Liga as they sit 6 points behind Real Madrid, Sevilla, Real Betis, and Real Sociedad, all the four-way tie for the best record in La Liga at the moment. Real Madrid is sitting there after they drew with Osasuna. Sevilla sitting there after they drew with Mallorca as well, and Real Betis sitting there after beating Valencia 4-1, 2 of their goals coming from Iglesias. Taking a look at what's going on in the Serie A, Juventus fell just short to Sassuolo as Sassuolo would end up beating Juventus 2-1. With this loss, Juventus is now tied with Fiorentina for the 7th best record in Serie A. They currently trail first place Milan by 13 points in the table, so they may probably kiss this title race goodbye, I might say. Inter Milan was able to beat Empoli 2-1. As with this 2-0 win, they are sitting third in Serie A. They sit 7 points behind their cross-town rival. That's what Serie A is looking like. And then looking at the domestic league, starting with the 4th round of the Carabao Cup in England, Tottenham Hotspur was able to beat Burnley 1-0 as their only goal came from Mora in the 68th minute. Liverpool was able to beat Preston North End 2-0 as Origi's backheel goal, that was the second goal of the game, would end up being a highlight for many to see. And Manchester City would end up losing to West Ham United on penalties. Taking a look at what went on in the DFB Pokal in Germany, the reigning Bundesliga champs Bayern Munich fell 5-0 to Borussia Mönchengladbach as Rosenbeini and Mbolo each would finish with braces within 7-minute spans of time. So that is how that matchup ended for Bayern. This is the second year in a row they lost in the second round of the DFB Pokal. But right now, that is what soccer is looking like leading into today. Starting off in La Liga, Atletico Madrid is going to face off against Levante at 3 o'clock. Atletico Madrid is currently sitting 7th in La Liga. A win for them could jump them into what is now the 4 and could possibly be a 5-way tie for the top of the table. Real Sociedad is playing against Celta Vigo. With a win here, Real Sociedad with a win or a draw, Real Sociedad can take the top of the table at this very moment. Looking at Italia Serie A, Napoli is going to face off against Bologna at 2:45. Napoli still has yet to lose a game. Because AC Milan won their game, they put the pressure on Napoli. A win from Napoli would put them even with Milan, and that's virtually everything that I got for you today. I want to thank the NBA, NFL, college football, soccer, and MLB websites for giving me all the figures that I needed in order to do this episode. I, of course, want to apologize for all the names that I butchered along the way. I do plan on getting them right eventually. And I want to, of course, thank everyone for listening to all 28 minutes of this, even though you're going to be listening to this way after. But regardless, this is a chunk of sports history. I want to thank everyone once again. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with everything that's going on tomorrow once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are completed. Until then, I want to thank everyone once again. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow. Peace out.